Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Rosina Sharon. They also call me the Queen of Blend. So today we're going to do a transformation tutorial on this beautiful style over here, and before we do that, kindly subscribe, share your thoughts on the comment section down below. I'll be reading all of them kama kawaida, and if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. With no further ado, let us go straight into the video. So we're going to start off by brushing her eyebrows using a spoolie, and then after that line using Davis number 3 eye pencil. And to line, we are following the exact shape of her eyebrows. And then after lining, we're going to use a bit of a Becca Primer just to make sure her eyebrows stay in place the whole day. So just using a spoolie to brush the product into her eyebrows and then press it in, allow it to dry out completely first before we start filling in. So to fill in, we're using the very same eye pencil we used to draw, or rather to line, that is Davis number 3, and we're going to fill in the areas where we feel like there is space alone. And then around the inner corner, we are using a darker eye pencil to draw hair-like structures. And then after that, to clean her eyebrows, we are using the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Fawn. For this, I would recommend you use a concealer either a shade lighter than her skin tone or maximum 2 shades lighter than her skin tone. We want to avoid that harsh line on the eyebrow area. So we're not going to start off directly from the inner corner. We're going to leave a bit of space around that area, and then we are going to use the product remaining on the brush around the inner corner, again to avoid that harsh line on the lower side of the eyebrow. And then after that, before we start applying eyeshadow, we're going to use the Plouise eyeshadow base. This is in the shade number 2, and I wanted to use an eyeshadow base today because it holds on to the eyeshadow more than just the normal concealer. So we're going to apply that starting from the lower lid going up, concentrating mostly around the lower lid. And then for her eyeshadow, we're using the James Charles eyeshadow palette. We're going to start off with this brown shade over here. So we're going to place that around the outer corner alone. And always start off with a smaller brush, then you can blend it in with a bigger brush after. Doing that, concentrating on the outer corner, going towards the inner corner, concentrating mostly on the upper lid. And then after we're done with the first transition, we're going to blend it in using a very subtle shade. You can use a bigger brush for that. And then around the crease region, we're not going to draw a cut crease today. We're going to use this shade on top of that crease region area. This is a matte shade. So today for eyeshadow, we're just focusing on matte shades alone. And as you can see, when you use an eyeshadow primer instead of a concealer, you see how there is no fallout when it comes to the eyeshadow. Exactly, it holds it in. So after that, we can blend at the edges of the crease region, and then after that, just to add that oomph to it, we're going to apply a bit of glitter around the inner corner. And then after that, we're going to draw a very small wing eye. We do not want to take away from this eye look. It's simple, but it is great for her eyes, so we don't want to take away from that. So we're going to draw a very tiny wing eye, not the dramatic wing eye. And then after we're done with that, we are going to draw a bit of a small white line in between the wing eye. We just wanted to add drama to it, nothing much, it's not necessary at all. So after that, we're going to apply falsies. I wanted her falsies to have that wing eye effect to them, so at least it enhances her very beautiful eye. And for makeup artists, this is very important. Make sure you cover up that line so you don't have the space showing when she opens her eyes. And then after that, again, for makeup artists, I would recommend you do the cream eyeliner on the waterline before you move on to start doing the face. And then after you're done with that, now you can move on to the face. I normally do the waterline before the face because I don't want to mess up the face after, you know, I've applied foundation already. I don't want to mess it up. So especially for if you're starting to do makeup on other people, you should do that before you move on to the face. So after cleaning the face, you can move on to moisturizer. I use the Cerave AM moisturizer. It has sunscreen in it as well, sorry. So it is like a 2-in-1 thing, which is perfect for me. So I'm just going to apply that all over her face. all over her face, okay? And then allow it to set first before we move on to applying a primer. And if you apply this product correctly, it gives the face such a natural glow, as you can see. Very beautiful. So after it has set, we're going to move on to priming the face. We're using the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer, and we're going to apply that on the areas where she produces oil the most, starting off around the nose region, especially around that curve on the corner of the nose. Very, very important. And for primer, we tap it in. Okay, we can apply it around the lip region as well, and the forehead. So make sure you tap. If your client or yourself, you have very oily skin, you can apply the primer all over, and make sure you use a very matte primer if you have a very oily skin. And then again, allow it to set fast or dry out completely fast before you move on to foundation. For foundation, we're going to use a Nars foundation, and there's a technique, especially if you're starting to do makeup on other people. When you're applying the foundation using a brush first, use a smaller brush, the flat brush, and then spread it down fast before you start blending in. Don't do dot all over the face and then you start blending in, because it's going to give it space in between. You know, one dot to the other dot, there is a lot of space in between the two of them. So blending that in is going to be a problem. That is when they start having patches. So make sure you do either drag it down, no spaces in between them, and then blend using a brush. And for blending, you tap until it is all blended in. Avoid using fresh product around just below the under eye and around that curve on the corner of the nose. Okay, so and keep blending. Make sure you blend in the neck as well, and then on the forehead, start just in between the eyebrows going up to blend, so you avoid using too much product around the hairline region. And if your client or yourself, you have discoloration on skin between your face and your neck, match your foundation to the neck. It's easier to match the foundation to the neck because you can always highlight and or contour to match. So match your foundation to your neck if you have a discoloration. And if you're going to use a cream blush, I would recommend that you apply that before you highlight using a concealer. It's easier that way, and that color, you know, that color remains there the whole time. So after the blush, now you can go on to highlighting using a concealer. Use a concealer to shade lighter than her skin tone or your skin tone. And then start off from the under eye. Just apply around the inner corner and outer corner. That is enough. Don't use too much product. And then after that, to blend, nowadays I start off with a smaller brush. It is a bit more fluffy, and then you use that to spread out that concealer before you use beauty blender now to blend it in, just to spread it out so it's easier for you to blend using a beauty blender after. So if you're a beginner and you want to start doing makeup on other people, you can try this technique. So after you have spread it out with a brush, use a beauty blender now to blend it in completely. I prefer using a beauty blender when it comes to concealers because it blends in nicer, in my opinion, than just a brush. And then on the forehead region, highlight less. If you have a bigger forehead, highlight more if you have a smaller forehead. Then again, start blending just in between the eyebrow going up, so it spreads out evenly, and you avoid using too much product around the hairline. To set the concealer in, we're going to use the Sacha Buttercup setting powder, and we're going to use the very same beauty blender we use to blend in the concealer. Use the side where it has product on it already, so just dab the beauty blender onto the product and then blow off the excess powder on the beauty blender, and use that to blend it in. So to blend, just press it in until it is absorbed into the skin. And kindly remember, we have been using a damp beauty blender, okay? So before the concealer part, the beauty blender was damp. We squeezed out the excess water on the beauty blender like completely fast before we start using it. So we're going to set the areas where we applied the concealer, all of them, and around the lip region. And then after that, we're moving on to contour. We're using a powder contour shade that is 2 shades darker than her skin tone, starting off from the cheekbone, higher points of her cheekbone. So remember, contour is to slim out the face, and use the product remaining on the brush to contour the forehead. Okay, you don't want the forehead looking too dark. And then around the nose contour, use just 1 shade darker than her skin tone. 1 shade, don't use 2 shades darker. You don't want a very dark contour around the nose. Okay, and then after applying the contour lines, blend it out with a clean brush so you avoid having harsh contour lines on the nose contour. And then around the upper side of the nose contour, you blend it in to the eyeshadow. And then after you're done with all that, you can go over the whole face using a finishing powder. And I would recommend you put that especially on the areas where you did not apply powder. That would be just below the contour lines and the neck as well, because remember you applied a bit of foundation on the neck, so make sure you set it with powder. Don't forget that. And then after that, you can set in the whole face using a setting spray. I normally prefer using dewy setting sprays. And then to highlight, we are using Fenty Beauty highlighter. Can you imagine, Fenty Beauty launched in Africa, especially here in Kenya, yeah? They launched Fenty Beauty and they did not invite makeup influencers, makeup artists to the launch. Can you imagine? It was crazy. Anyway, so moving on, we're going to start off by lip lining for her lips using a brown Davis number 3 lip liner. There is a brown lip liner. And then after that, make sure you blend in the lip liner first before you move on to applying lipstick. And then after that, we're going to use a nude lipstick. This one is from Golden Lip Cosmetics. And to apply, start from right to left, drag it from right to left, left to right. Don't do it up, down, okay? Don't do it up, down. Drag it left, right, right, left, so it spreads out evenly. And then after that, now we're going just to apply a bit of clear gloss on top of it. And that would be it from me today, guys. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. This is the final look. She is a very, very beautiful girl. The makeup looks amazing. We do not want to do very, very dramatic makeup, like, we do not want to take her away from her very beautiful self. So this is the final look, guys. Let me know what you think on the comment section. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Here I was just giving her the mirror so she can see herself, and look at her. Oh, she looks amazing. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have learned something from this tutorial, and I'll be seeing you guys in my next video. Bye.